Hello everybody, mega goal number 5, third secondary 10 writing, pages 90 and 91. Now let's take a look at the objectives in this lesson, or after the end of the lesson we will be able to write an essay about the way different people communicate. راح نكتب مقال عن كيف يتواصل الأشخاص المختلفين. Okay? So right now, please move on to pages 90 and 91 and follow up with me as I explain this lesson. Usually, at the beginning of the writing lesson, you have a text which is mainly is a model that guides you through the process of writing, or just it's a model that for setting an example. يعني يكون عندكم قطعة قراءة كنموذج للمقال اللي راح تكتبون عنه. And usually we have some questions to answer about this text, and of course afterwards we are supposed to analyze the style of writing. نحلل طريقة الكتابة. So please move on to pages 90 and 91, and as a reminder, this unit is called the gender divide. Okay, 10 writing. Let's take a look at section A. So how do we communicate? Do we mostly communicate through verbal or non-verbal language? كيف نتواصل? Do we communicate من خلال التواصل الشفهي أو الغير شفهي? Okay, so maybe you're thinking, what do we mean by the verbal language and non-verbal language? الverbal language اللي هي اللغة اللي نتكلم فيها, of course. Non-verbal probably يعني facial expression, تعابير الوجه, gesture, الإيماءات. This is what they mean by non-verbal language. Now here you are asked to try communicating these to your partner without speaking. Okay, في عندنا بعض الأشياء المطلوب منا إن احنا نتواصل مع زميلك في الصف بدون أو your partner بدون speaking, بدون التحدث. How would you say, can I have your pen please? Are you going to call me after school? I went shopping yesterday. Okay, so try to communicate these to your partner without speaking. Now write 2 of your own messages on a piece of paper, fold it and set it aside, or give it to your teacher. Use non-verbal language to communicate your message. Check how successful were you. طبعا ممكن تكتبون message في on a piece of paper وتعطون المدرس, or you can set it aside وتحاولون توصلون الرسالة الموجودة في هذه المسج بدون speaking. Okay, afterwards you can check if they got your message or not, يعني if you are successful or if you were successful or not. Okay, so right now let's move on to the 4th question. Now there is an expression which says a picture is worth 1,000 words. يعني الصورة تساوي 1000 كلمة. Can you explain this saying? Okay, if you have answers to this question, you are welcome to leave it in the comment box below. Now right now let's take a look at the text. So the text is talking about, or the text's title, verbal and non-verbal communication, التواصل اللفظي والغير اللفظي. So there are a couple of questions which are asked from us about this text, and if you want you can just pause the video and read the text by yourself, and then later on you can run the video one more time or again. Anyways, now ممكن توقفون الفيديو تقرأون النص وبعدها تشغلون الفيديو. It's up to you. And right now let's move on to the 5th question. Now you are asked to read the text and find the main thesis statement, the supporting paragraphs, and the arguments used. طبعا before I start answering this question, let me just explain to you the meaning of a thesis statement. معنى thesis statement. A thesis statement actually expresses the main idea of the topic or the research or the paper of an essay. يعني thesis statement اللي هي الفكرة الرئيسية التي يتم التعبير عنها سواء في البحث أو المقال أو anything. يعني thesis statement. Okay, الفكرة الرئيسية. As for the supporting paragraphs or the supporting sentences, maybe sometimes supporting means the information that supports a main idea claim. يعني شنو اللي يدعم الفكرة الرئيسية اللي يعني تتم مناقشتها. In this condition, verbal and non-verbal communication. طبعا the supporting idea actually, or the supporting paragraphs, they give the reader details يعني معلومات أكثر in order to understand the main idea. يعني يعطون يعني معلومات أكثر عشان يعني يعرف الفكرة الرئيسية, or evidence to show why a claim is true or correct. يعني يعطون يعني معلومات أكثر عشان يوضحون ليش الفكرة اللي طرحها في المقال صحيحة. أوكي, أو مثلا ممكن يكون بحث or so. أوكي, argument used اللي هي الحجج اللي تم استخدامها. Now, as for the main thesis statement, طبعا عادة يتم طرح الفكرة الرئيسية في first paragraph. It is language as our primary means of communication as human beings, which sets us apart from other species. So this is the thesis statement. As for the supporting paragraph, they are through or from second paragraph till the sixth paragraph. All of these are supporting paragraphs. Now, as for the arguments used, and now let's take a look at each one of them. So in the second paragraph, the argument is used is to think about photographs taken in the center of town. Okay, and as for the second one, choose to tell your friend about it. Do you choose to tell your friend or to show him the new gadget? Okay. As for the one which is mentioned in this paragraph, for example, when you run into somebody you haven't seen for some times, okay, how would you communicate? And another argument which is used in this paragraph is when you see a friend that you haven't seen for some times at the airport and you want to get or his or her phone number. Okay. As for the last argument which is used, it was used mainly in the last paragraph. About 60% of human communication is carried out through non-verbal. Okay, so these are the arguments which were used in the text. Okay, so right now we have covered this part. Now let's move on to the process of writing, and let me just guide you through the process. As I said previously, the main objective of this lesson is to write an essay about the way people communicate, or طبعا different ways of communication. Anyways, now you have to think of an Arab man or woman or a non-Arab man or woman you know personally or from TV. طبعا في البداية فكروا بأشخاص ممكن يكون عرب نساء أو رجال أو غير عرب نساء أو رجال. طبعا ممكن تعرفونهم شخصيا أو من التلفاز. Think about the way these people communicate, research and collect information about culture-specific feature of communication. Do you think the communication in a way that is typical of their culture? Write your ideas in a chart. طبعا انتوا عارفين أنه ممكن يكون تأثير الثقافة أو الحضارة ممكن يكون لها تأثير على التواصل. فممكن انتوا تفكرون إذا في تواصل هذه الأشخاص وبرضو تجمعون معلومات وتجمعون معلومات برضو عن ثقافتهم أو حضارتهم وكيف أنه ممكن يكون لها تأثير على طرق التواصل أو باعتقادكم إنهم هل يتواصلون بنفس الطريقة في ثقافتهم اللي موجودة في ثقافتهم. وممكن تكتبون المعلومات في الشارتس. And then afterwards طبعا انتوا عارفين the process of writing, we have discussed it in the first writing video. طبعا في أول فيديو ناقشنا the process of writing اللي هي قلنا to brainstorm or يعني بعدين to collect information وبعدين to start writing drafts. Anyways يعني the process of writing. بعدين you start to write, okay. طبعا you write an essay about communication approaches used by each person. طبعا mainly بيكون الessay راح يكون comparative essay يعني مقارنة, and you have to give examples to support your ideas. So let's take a look at the chart here. As we said, you are mainly comparing an Arab person to a non-Arab person in the way they communicate بطريقة تواصلهم. Okay, so here we have something which is called culture-specific communication features and communication features that are not culture-specific. طبعا بناء على هذا الشخص طبعا هل في تأثير على ثقافته أو حضارته على طريقة تواصله وكيف يعني. You have to provide details, and here as well if the communication features that are not culture specific ما لها علاقة بالثقافة أو الحضارة اللي يعني الشخص أتى منها. Now you can just read this as an example, and then you move on to the writing corner, because the writing corner is mainly there to guide you through or to give you just tips on how to write this essay. Now when you write a comparative or contrastive essay, طبعا مقارنة طبعا مثل ما شايفين between an Arab and an Arab and the way they communicate, you consider the different side of the issue, الشيء المختلف من issue which is communication. Develop a list of similarity and differences, يعني قائمة بالأشياء المختلفة والأشياء المتشابهة. Establish your basis of comparison اللي هي شنو أساس المقارنة اللي هي بيكون فيه communication. Create a thesis for their relative importance, for example يعني outweigh differences. Okay, طبعا you have to create of course a thesis, يعني لازم يكون في يعني main idea. يعني مثلا you want to show that people communicate in the same way whether they are from the same culture or not, or people communicate differently based on their culture depending on what you believe or what you want to claim اللي تبغى يعني تطرحها أو you believe in في هذا الأسي. okay, طبعا لازم تطرح الفكرة الرئيسية مثل ما شايفين في first paragraph. okay, now let's move on to structure your essay using an alternating or a block structure. وهنا it explains to you the meaning of each one of them. Alternating a structure involves a point by point discussion and can be quite systematic and analytic. طبعا هنا alternating structure طبعا هو اللي هو زي التبايني، يطرح مثلا كل نقطة من النقاش يعني بطريقة مثل يكون في systematic way، بطريقة يعني منظمة وتحليلية. As for the block method, allows you to discuss each aspect or topic in distinct blocks and they conclude. يعني block يعني كأنها في كل paragraph بيطرح فكرة في من aspect from the topic وبعدين بيكون في conclude اللي هي يعني conclude يعني خاص شنو الاستنتاج منه. So right now we have reached the end of the lesson and I hope that you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video with your friends and hit the like button. Till next time, have a good one.